Hey, in this case study, I'm going to walk you through how we helped a Chicago-based pest control company be able to find over $20,000 in tax savings by going in and helping them understanding their books, being able to create a roadmap to scale past 7 figures, and how we're going to be able to help them continue to do things profitably. So if you're interested in seeing inside of how we work with small businesses, let's get into this case study of a Chicago-based pest control company. All right, let's get into this case study of a Chicago pest control company as they're scaling past 7 figures that came to us before working with us here at CEO Finance Academy. So they're home services. They do mosquito control, pest control, and they added on holiday lighting. They're based out of Chicago. They've got a team that is door-to-door sales reps, field techs, operations, and then sales managers. So this company, when they came to us, they're doing around $837K a year on the current year, with projecting over the next year to get into the 2.3 million range, and we're going to talk through kind of how we're able to project that out and where we expect that to come from. So what were some of the challenges they were facing before when they got to us? We started working together. They had messy financials and false profit signals. So credit cards and bank accounts weren't being reconciled, which was showing negative balances and inflated profit on paper. We're going to talk about how that actually then yields into huge tax implications. You're taxed on profit. And so if you're showing a much higher inflated profit than you actually have, your tax implication is going to be much higher. And so we're going to talk through kind of how that here in a minute in terms of return on investment, how that's going to pan out. So number 2 was lower customer expansion rate. So 83% of their customers only use Mosquito services. And so this is something we were able to figure out by going into the data with them, into their CRM, and helping them figure out, hey, only 83% of our customers are only using the Mosquito related services. And so we need to do, and cross-selling to pest control and holiday lighting wasn't really happening. So we weren't taking those existing customers and saying, hey, we can also help you with pest, or, do you guys would be interested in holiday lighting? So that was number 2. Number 3 was there's unclear division margins and capacity planning. So we couldn't see the profitability by division via, meaning, hey, what's the actual margins on just the mosquito services alone? What about pest control alone? And then what about the holiday lighting side? So we didn't have visibility into division by division profit margins to be able to say, hey, which is most profitable? And then growth hires were made without a revenue or margin forecast tied to them. So we're making hires based off reactivity, feeling like we need the bodies, we need somebody to be there. And we weren't looking at, hey, what's it actually going to do in terms of how much revenue do we need to do for this person to justify us making that hire? So those were kind of the 3 big challenges they were facing. So what did we do together to help them? So the first thing is we did an accounting and reconciliation cleanup. So we were able to help them realize where they needed to reconcile their credit cards, loans, and bank accounts to show their true cash position. And then we identified overstated profits and corrected expense recording errors and built a clean baseline for financial modeling. So that was number 1. Number 2 was we did multi-division margin modeling. So we were able to actually go in and separate the P&L into 3 divisions, just for mosquito, just for pest control, and just for holiday lighting. And then we were able to model each line's gross margins, and that allowed us to see, hey, what's the growth potential in each, and what are the seasonal cycles of each of our divisions? So it's huge to get insight into when we make the most of our money, when is it really rough, and we can plan accordingly around that. So we then number 3, we built a growth and cash flow projection. So we built a 12-month forecast showing capacity, labor, and cash needs to hit 61% growth. We modeled recurring customer revenue and new acquisition goals. So we were able to say, hey, if we can retain these customers, if we can do cross-sells, here's what that looks like in terms of long-term revenue and profitability. Then we did sales and staffing ROI analysis. So it's a huge one we see with a lot of companies. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, is we modeled out the cost of new managers and ops leaders versus revenue needed to justify these hires. So if we're going to make new hires, what is the revenue that they need to be tied to, and how is that going to impact profitability? And then we mapped hiring capacity to projected upsells and cross-service conversion. So rather than being reactive and going, hey, I think we're hitting the max that we need to hire someone, let's look at when is going to be the appropriate time to hire based on our projected upsell and cross-service conversion rates. 5th thing we did was we did a division expansion roadmap. We looked at we designed a scaling plan to grow pest control and holiday lighting to 150% of current volume. So we mapped out a plan for that, and we forecasted how seasonal lighting cash flow could fund off-season labor. So when pest control maybe is at its lowest, can we then look at how the seasonal lighting that they already were doing and offering just weren't doing it enough to their existing customers? Can that offset those down periods? So just kind of going through this, was it worth it for them to work with us? What kind of return on investment can they expect to see? Well, if we're looking at them doing a projected 2.3 million next year based on our projections, right? So here's some things that we've sort of been able to extrapolate. One is the profit correction. So the reconciliations, we revealed that, there was 90,000 overstated profit. and 100,000 unrecorded expenses. So if you just take that swing, right? 90,000 overstated profit. If you're looking at paying, on the low end, 20% taxes on 90K, more likely 30% or potentially even above, depending on how you're playing the game, you're looking at upwards of $30,000, 15 to 25,000 in taxes that actually didn't need to be paid because profit was overstated. So that's a huge just return there of being able to find that, reconcile that, and be able to reduce our tax burden. 2 is customer expansion. So creating a plan for increasing cross-service uptake from 17%, meaning those people who are doing Mosquito weren't signing up for pest control. If we can help move that from 17 to 35%, which we think is doable, it's going to be adding in around 500,000 of new revenue a year. Division margin lift. So we took all of our blended margins and it's at 62%, and looking at our pricing structure, can we move that to 68%? That'd be a huge gain for us in terms of profit margins. And we mapped out how we feel like that's doable. Then season cash flow planning, so avoiding 150,000 in winter cash shortages through forecast-driven hiring and pre-sales that we can do. So total year one kind of return on investment, we're looking at, this is on the high end, 750,000 in profit improvement potential. But the real thing is here, minimum, what we can say for sure in the short term is by being able to isolate the fact that we had overstated profits by 90,000, minimum, we're looking at probably $20,000 in just tax savings alone, of helping them be able to figure that out by catching those mistakes. So that's our case study of our Chicago-based pest control company that's doing Mosquito, pest control, and some holiday lighting. So what's next? We're going to expand full-service contracts that's going to combine Mosquito, pests, and holiday lights for clients so they can package all this together. We're going to automate reconciliation and CRM syncing, and we're going to roll out quarterly profit reviews by division with a goal of continuing to scale to 2.3 million with margin discipline. So this is the case study. If you like these kind of case studies, seeing inside of how we're helping small businesses control their finances, make better financial decisions, ultimately be able to scale up profitably, click around here. We've got tons of other videos going through different case studies, and hope you enjoy them. And if you ever need help, you can always go to our website and book a call with our team. Catch you guys later.